Hello, everyone. I have the honor of talking with Fiona Pagett today. She's the founder of Keeping Fit Simple. Fiona's been very active in the group and in the entrepreneurial circles and has had a very interesting career path and background. And I really wanted to hear more from her and what her life has been like getting from there till now. And so maybe start out with a little bit about what your current business is and what you're doing.
Hi, Larry. It's lovely to be here. Yes, I qualified as a personal trainer when I was 42 years old, so that was just over 5 years ago. And I have been working mainly with women throughout the course of that time. But I really wanted to find a way to reach a wider audience. And of course, now that we've got the facilities that we do with this fantastic internet and social media, etc., I decided to try and do it that way. So I'm in the process of setting up Keeping Fit Simple, which will be an online membership fitness site for women.
Cool.
And programs which will be specifically for, perhaps different age groups, etc. So yes, that's what I'm busy with at the moment.
Very cool. So this isn't what you started out doing when you first got out of school. So tell us a little bit about kind of your career path and what made you end up, in this space, which is quite different than what you used to be doing.
Very different. I was lucky actually, because I left university and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I ended up working for a local radio station, and my first job, I was up in a helicopter every morning. Tiny wee helicopter, reporting the travel and news in a city in the very far north of Scotland called Aberdeen. And things progressed pretty quickly because I think I was in a small town. I was soon presenting, DJing my own live Sunday night show and working on the breakfast show. And I moved over to television, where I was taught presenting, really continuity in presenting news bulletins. And that led me to move to Glasgow, a bigger city in Scotland. And from there, I presented a weekly program, which was sort of current affairs magazine style program. And I did that several years. And I took a break then to have my children. And we can discuss some of the issues around all of that works, And I then went back in, and even during that short spell, which was 5 years, I'd really missed a lot in terms of IT. I was really because I was in my newsroom initially with a typewriter and a telephone and a phone. Then I went back into workplace, and everybody was really good on computers.
Right.
I did get back in as head of communications for a Scottish business charity.
Okay.
Which was a great job, and working in the voluntary sector. And I, after that, decided for the first time to set up on my own, because I'd still kept it doing video work. I produced a really nice corporate video for them and set up a video production company locally just from home, which took off immediately. But when the recession hit, we made the mistake of hanging on to a couple of really good clients. And, you learn from your mistakes. In hindsight, that was a mistake. Right. We lost these clients in the recession. So the company went down pretty quickly. And I think I just had enough, it made me, it's very demoralizing when that happens. You feel very out of control. And that's when I thought, I'd always loved sport. And that's when I qualified as a personal trainer. So I was the oldest person in my class by about 15 years. And I couldn't do a press up. I was a bit bigger than I am, but I knew that I thought I would be good at the job. And I was very good at sport at school. So that was a complete change. And I love it. I do. I really, really love what I do now. And the thing is, all that you build up over the years contributes, because I was competent at presenting, so I was happy to stand up in front of a big class of people and teach them. And so, you're never all that you're doing is positive all the way along.
Right, right. What are the things that you think contributed the most to you feeling confident enough? Because it's a different level of confidence to start your own business, right? And what do you think contributed to that? I mean, you talked about the public speaking being a big part of that. Were there other things that you learned throughout your career and experiences that you had that made you feel like I could start my own business and run my own business and I have no problem with that?
I felt, yes, I had a good network of contacts.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I had always been, the job that I had working for the Scottish Business Charity, the contacts I made there were phenomenal.
Okay.
So I knew I had a good bank of contacts, and we also joined a networking group. In fact, joined the local chambers of commerce, etc. straight away. So I was happy to kind of walk into a room and network, and that's important.
Okay.
Learned a lot about branding because my previous job had been we'd done a complete rebrand of the charity, built our own website. So I was quite adept at that kind of thing. I've been involved in marketing and a bit of sales along the way. So I mean, it's always scary.
Yeah.
But I did feel that I had probably built up fairly good base of skills, and at that point, I suppose you just got to give it a go, haven't you?
Right. Take a leap of faith.
Yeah. Massive leap of faith, and it's a big responsibility because you've got family in the house, and not everybody telling you it's a great idea.
Right.
So yes, it was a challenge to begin with, but exciting,
Yeah, it is. It is. How much do you think, and you and I have talked about this before, but how much do you think that you regaining personally your own kind of physical fitness and health and getting away from the corporate job and being able to take care of yourself and feel fit and strong again, how much do you think that contributed to you feeling confident and kind of changing your confidence to approach this?
Well, when I set the video production company up, I wouldn't say that I was in as good a situation as I am now with my health and fitness. But my health and fitness has never been terribly bad. I've never been very overweight, and I've always done a little bit of sport.
Okay.
But I think that there is absolutely no doubt, for all manner of reasons, that the more on top of your health and fitness you can be, the better a go you're going to have at building the business. And I mean, the one I'm building now is a lot scarier because there's been a much bigger learning curve for many reasons. Just all learning how to operate all the systems and the technology online. There's been a massive shift in how we operate with regard to marketing and sales. When I ran my first business, we just sat with a phone directory and picked up the phone. It was literally just cold call after cold call. And the problem with that, now there's this months of, relationship building and giving this free and that free. So all of that's been a much bigger learning curve this time. And you see people talking about it a lot because the thing is, whilst you are in a 9-to-5 job that you might not like, but you maybe work 40 hours a week. Right. But when you're building your own business, you'll work a lot more.
Right.
It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work to me. I mean, this sounds so sad, terrible, but I do really get excited about things. Especially when you've discovered something or you've made something work and you've done it yourself. Yeah. You've designed a logo or everything's coming together. So I don't ever, unless I'm having to do my finances or my tax returns or something, which I hate. Otherwise, I love what I do. Yeah. But problem with that is you have to watch your hours, because before you know it, it's midnight and you're still this. And you hear a lot of people in entrepreneurial circles say, oh, you know, they're getting sore necks and they are putting on weight. They know they're not exercising enough, but I've got to keep on the computer. but you don't. It's far better to get off the computer, walk, exercise, and it has to be part of what you're doing to keep your energy level, you know, and keep yourself healthy from, you know, help prevent yourself becoming ill, you know, as you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's good advice. I think even for people in the corporate world, that I know I used to work really long hours, and you're sitting in front of the computer and you're sitting in meetings and you're not walking around. And even at night you come home and you're on your phone. So what advice do you give people to break free from that cycle, to make sure that they are making time? Are there any tips or tricks to get them to kind of make a little bit of time every day just to do something?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wave a magic wand. You know, I think a certain aspect has to come from the person themselves. Unfortunately, when people often realize that they need to do something, they've injured themselves, or they've had a illness of some sort, or stomach ulcer, or something's happened that's made them think, actually, I'm not bomb-proof. So, you know, I think it's far better if you can think about it in a sort of preventative way.
Sure.
And the big issue for lots of people is time.
Right.
So, but we've created this situation where people seem to think you need to have, you know, come home and then you've got 2 hours in the gym at night, or you don't have to do it that way. So I try to insist that the least people do is walk. And, you know, I think it's hard to say there's no time to walk.
Right.
You get up a little bit earlier and walk at home before you leave the house, even if that's getting up at 5:30 in the morning. Or you could get off the bus a bit earlier and, you know, walk that bit or you could have part of your lunch hour could be a walk. And if there's limited time, walk quickly. I think it does so many things apart from just the physical exercise. The blood is pumping. It does absolute things to your brain. All sorts of things. So I mean, the very simplest thing is to walk. But I think then you have to do something that you love. So there is some form of exercise that everybody will enjoy, and it doesn't really matter what you like. Whether, you know, someone might a ballet class and someone might prefer you know, taekwondo. It doesn't matter. People like yoga. There's something for everybody. You might like to go and have a game of tennis or play some badminton, or involved in a local football team. I mean, you know, we've got local football and rugby teams for people well into their 40s, and you know, there are things like that out there, and that's another interest in other people. But it has to be a priority. Yeah, I agree. As much, you know, you're not going to say to somebody, well, just don't eat for a couple of days. You know, just don't move for a couple of days. You know, it has to be an integral part of, you know, every day if possible, but it needs hours every day. It can just be little. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a really good point. So switching gears a little bit, you know, I've been able to witness over the last year you pursuing different entrepreneurial paths and finally finding, I think, your passion, which is quite clear. I think it comes through in how you talk about it. You light up quite a bit when you're talking about this. What recommendations would you give someone who's sitting at the beginning of this path saying, well, what do I want to do? Because there are some people who are in a job and they've had it. And, you know, after decades of being in a career, sometimes you're like, okay, I've had enough of this and I'm ready for a fresh start. And I'd love to start a business, but how do I even figure out what I want to do and what my passion might be?
Yeah, I find that quite a difficult question to answer, because for me, I at school, my best subject was sport. But when I was at school, which was quite some time ago, sport, PE as we call it over here, physical education, wasn't even an exam. You really, if you liked sport, then you could become a PE teacher.
Oh, interesting.
Unless you were going to become a professional athlete. But that was really it. So the thing that I loved most and was best at, I couldn't really pursue because I didn't want to be a PE teacher.
Mm.
And so I left that there, you know, just sort of parked it there. Whereas now people take sport and it leads to all manner of things, sports science, and all manner of career options in sport and exams in sport, and it's treated as any other subject. So for me, when I think had, you know, my time in video and broadcasting and corporate communications had come to a bit of a sort of shattering end, and I just sat back, and it didn't really take me very long, because that is a passion of mine. So I do think sometimes going back, it is worth looking back, because times have changed and things have changed. So things you might not have been able to pursue so easily in a career sense, you can pursue now. But the opportunities we have are absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I was on Udemy today. I've been looking at the different ways of creating online learning courses.
Right.
And there are many platforms teachable, but Udemy is one. And I was looking for something quite specific, but I was going through and I thought, everybody has something they could create an online course about. Mm-hmm. Absolutely everybody. So yes, there are lots of aspects of building a business that have to be learned.
Right.
And well, you and I are still learning these things. We'll always be learning them, and because things will always be changing.
That's right.
But nobody can sit and say, there's nothing I could do.
Right. Yeah.
Really, I genuinely believe that.
I think that's a very good point. You know, I talk with people I would talk about rolling back the clock a bit, because I think what happens as we go down an educational path and then a career path is that it increasingly narrows, and we forget what it is we originally really enjoyed doing, we're good at doing, and where kind of our interest and maybe even our calling is, because we got so narrow focused on that career path that we've forgotten everything behind us. I think you're right that there are a lot of things that as a child maybe we did and we thought would be interesting, and somebody somewhere told us, well, you can't do that for a job. You can't make a living doing that. And I think the world's changed. I mean, with the online internet and with mobile technology, with everything that's possible, I think there are things that we originally wanted to do, maybe even as a child, that you could do now. And like to your point, I think everybody has decades of knowledge and experience that they don't realize is an opportunity to educate other people. So I think there's a huge opportunity to share just what you know with people who are coming up the path behind you and they'd like to skip some of the errors that maybe you made over those 10, 20 years and kind of get a jump start on it. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, there is. And I think, you see so many people that's part of what we call midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Lots of things contribute to a midlife crisis. that's one of them for lots of people.
Yeah.
Is that I've sat in this office for 25 years.
Right.
I'm not where I want to be. For all manner of reasons, I'm not where I want to be. It doesn't have to be that I'm working for someone else. For lots of people, that's absolutely fine. But it can be, why am I sitting doing this when I actually, in my heart, I want to be doing this again?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not for everybody. And the other way to approach it is to just do something. Keep your day job and start to do something part time, so you don't take the leap. And see how you sort of give yourself time to develop it and get it right, but don't put the pressure. Yes. I had pressure on me because of what happened. And, that's not necessarily a good thing. I wouldn't recommend that at all. So, it's something that you can do to just develop as a bit of an interest. But so many things can be monetized. It's possible to And it's fun as well. If you like things like Instagram and building your presence and teaching people, showing people, guiding people, whatever it is, healing people, it's when you hear the stories and the journeys that people have been through.
Right.
These stories and journeys, they're going to help someone else.
Yep, exactly.
And I think it's learning. That's such a powerful thing. It's a great thing.
So you have, I guess, my last question for you, because I know we're almost out of time. So you have children that are kind of the age, I guess, of my children. They're starting to graduate and go on into university or maybe go on to a job. What advice would you give a young person today that's just starting out? I mean, things that you've learned and things you've observed with your own children.
I try to be very, I don't put a lot of pressure on my children. I watch them. I watch them very closely. I try to, they have to see all the options that are out there. But my son is at a rural agricultural college now, studying rural business management. He loves being outdoors and he loves that kind of thing. So it took a long time to find something, and I looked at various different avenues. But I remember going to the careers guidance teacher, and I was scared because at that point I was thinking maybe an apprenticeship or something. But every other boy, it was like, well, which university are you going to? There's still living in that time. The youngsters are very channeled down one route. And I thought, oh no, do I tell a white lie and just say, oh, Edinburgh? Or do I, I sat down and he said, so, what university are you thinking of? And I said, well, we're actually thinking about doing something different. We're wondering about an apprenticeship. And he said, what a breath of fresh air. He proceeded to say that he sits with parents and son, come in and they sit down, and the parents are saying, so which university should he be going to? What's going to be the he needs to earn money. And he looks at the boy and the eyes are just glazed over. He's not having a say in the matter. He's not doing what he's wanting to do. And you see that from, even when I go back to my colleagues at university, most of the people that did law, hardly anybody ended up pursuing that because they got into something that they thought was one thing, and because there was some sort of, this was seemed to be a great thing to do. Right. Within a year or so of practicing, they're thinking, well, actually, this isn't what I want to do at all. One ended up being a strawberry farmer. So instead of making them go through all that process, pushing them through that process, it's about saying, well, there is that, and that route works brilliantly for lots of people. I'm not knocking it at all, but young people have lots of different personalities and so many different attributes, and the exam system does not do them justice. So it's really about keeping that communication open, looking around. There's so many different options, and as parents, we're there to guide them and support them, and be proud of who they are as individuals, and not just a set of A's and B's.
Very good advice. Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's a lot of parents in the group that would appreciate hearing this. So thank you again, Fiona Pagett from Keeping Fit Simple. I think it's keepingfitsimple.com, correct? That's the website. So if you're interested in learning how to take those next steps to be a little more healthy and fit in your everyday life, which we all could use, check it out. Thank you again, Fiona. I really appreciate your insights today and learning about your career path.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye now. Bye.
Bye.